this is where we was just at earlier. I'm on my way out for today. What I like to do is make another scrape over it on the way out. It's very wet. Not trying to finish grade anything. Obviously, that won't work. So all I'm trying to do is kind of put a cap on it. And a lot of times I'll actually back drag it on the way out. You know, trying to cover up any ruts, because the least amount of water I can keep on it, the better off I am. If I keep it dry, and it's probably going to rain on it again, it'll be a lot better in the long run. The smoother it is. If you leave the dirt rough, it just seems to never dry out. But hopefully we can get some dry weather here soon. Had a bad run of luck with the rain. Well, probably 4 or 5 months now. It's been wet everywhere. So, there's people that'll say, "Oh, you can't do this kind of work when it's wet." I agree with them. It's not ideal. You got bills to pay. You got to do the work when you're there. So here we are working. We're happy to be here. God's blessed us with a wide pad dozer. We're taking advantage of it. We're going to make this happen. Alright, so I'm on my way out now, and honestly, a lot of this is pretty wet, so I'm not even gonna mess with it. I'm just gonna pull on out here to the truck. I'm gonna let this sit, and we'll get on it when we come back. It's really good compared to what it was. In the road, I'm sure you can't tell in the video, the road's higher than the woods now, so it will dry out. It'll take it a little while, probably 2 or 3 weeks. It'll dry out real nice. And it's going to wind up making a real good road, for those of you that sent out or doesn't really understand what I'm talking about or why it would dry out. The reason the road will dry out is because it's probably, I'd say, 8 to 10 inches higher than the woods now, and it wasn't before. So everything we're dealing with right now is wet, but once it starts to dry, it's going to make a real nice road. You can see the oak trees kind of sweep over it. We was able to save a lot of those. It's going to be a long road, like I said, but we're glad to be here. We're going to make a good road out of this, and we're going to do it for a budget price. Still relatively expensive for a road this long, but it's much cheaper than it would be if you just had to buy dirt. See, this part of the road's actually held up pretty well. I scraped this morning. You can see liquid on top of it, but it's it's holding the weight good. And I don't know, probably a week and a half ago, you couldn't walk in here hardly. It was terrible. Literally couldn't hardly walk. It would try to pull your shoes off. So, pretty happy with the progress. I don't have that much time in it. Considering what we got done. So the finished grade on this will look a lot different, but there's no need to even fool with that right now. That'll be towards the end when everything starts to dry out a lot better, and we may do that. We'll probably come back over with a dozer a couple more times, but we may do it with a tractor. It's a lot more cost effective to put a rubber tire tractor on it. Anyways, I'll take another video when I get on up here, see where I got the truck pulled in. Alright, coming up on the truck, you can see water in the road. I scraped all that this morning. Like to scrape a little closer to the edge. It's just too wet right now. So let me give it some time. We're also going to dig a small pond in here somewhere. Hadn't decided exactly where yet. So some of that dirt will go for the road. And that'll really help things when we get that way. All this to the left here will be filled in and made a ditch. But you can see I got my truck. It's in here a pretty good ways. And you literally couldn't walk through there 2 weeks ago. You bog up to the middle of your shin trying to walk through there. So major improvement. I got the little factory tires on my truck. It is 4-wheel drive, but I was able to come in here. I'll back out. Probably won't try to turn around in here yet. I'm real happy that I can come in and out. In this section that I've just done, with the exception of a few little places, I should be able to come in and out on it, I'd say, in the next few days. There's where we just come from. So yeah, it's not it's not great, but it's manageable. We're gonna get there.